Welcome back to Good Moms Bad Choices.
I'm Erica.
And I'm Milah.
Happy Wednesday, bitches.
Happy motherfucking hump day.
How you doing?
How you feeling, baby?
I feel good. I feel tan, so I feel great. I put on darker makeup today.
Okay, I was like, it's raining, bitch. When did you go
I put
on
on darker makeup today just to feel like I was in Costa Rica. I was like, let me go a shade darker.
Okay.
I feel like the camera will be flattering. I had to blend my neck, you know? You just got to blend down. Tips, ladies, use a beauty blender. Blend down. Don't forget to blend down. I hate when I fucking see the line.
Me too.
But you can get away. If you buy a beauty blender, and this is a plug, if you buy a beauty blender and you get it wet, you can wear any shade of makeup.
Please don't tell the bitches that.
You can.
Please don't do that.
Beauty blender makes everyone beautiful.
I really don't want to see any black women in very light makeup, and I don't want to see...
Okay, I'm talking about more dark, not more light.
Okay, well, you look sun-kissed, my love.
Thank
Whatever
you.
Did, it's doing it.
See, I wore the brown shirt. Hopefully it was going to make me look more brown.
I think that was reflecting, but please, God, for the love of God, don't take Erica's advice and start wearing colors that don't belong to you. Terrible makeup advice.
Whatever.
Bitches just lying. This is my color. Yep. Like Erica said, it's fine.
No, I'm good. I'm happy. We're in Money March. I feel like we've had some really great guests, and I've been learning lots of things.
I have. I've learned a lot of things. We've been recording our audiobook, which has been really, really fulfilling in some weird way. I know we wrote it, but I just realized when we were recording the other day, I haven't heard myself say it. You don't really realize that you don't hear yourself talk until you put headphones on.
Because we don't wear headphones. We refuse.
We're too cute. My hairstyles will not make it if I wear headphones. But I was listening to the book and I was like, oh, this is what I said. I was crying and shit. I'm like, wow, this is powerful. This is how I sound.
Yeah, I'm really excited for people to hear it. It's a really good book, I have to say.
I felt very activated after, we have a director in our Audible and an engineer, and, it's this kind, wonderful, middle-aged white woman who's a single mom named Jessica, and she was like, when I read your book, I really could relate to it. And I was like, you know what? If Jessica relates to our shit, it's a hit. It's a hit.
If the whites like it, it's a hit.
Not if the whites like it, it's a hit. It's more like it's relatable. Even if we drop a couple.
It's mainstream. If the whites like it, it's mainstream.
It is. She wasn't frightened from the niggas here and little nigga there. She was like, you know what, I get it.
Yeah.
And I was like, good. That's all that matters. Jessica, you get it? You're okay. Good.
Shout out to Jessica, and if you guys haven't pre-ordered our book, make sure you click the link in this episode description and pre-order A Good Mom's Guide to Making Bad Choices. It officially comes out on Mother's Day.
No, it comes out on May 2nd.
Okay, the week of Mother's Day.
No, Mother's Day's May 17th.
Okay, 2 weeks before Mother's Day.
Okay, well, you guys...
just click the link in the episode description. You'll find all the information there. You can also listen to the book because we just recorded the Audible. And
that's also on pre-order.
Yes, so... That's it.
Not us getting in an argument trying to promote it. It is this day. So ghetto. Anyway, buy the book.
To continue on with Money March, I'm really excited. We have a guest here that we've been, as we said before we hit record, we've been stalking her. No, not to scare you. We stalk a lot of our guests. It's kind of our thing.
It's the only way. It's the only way to make it. So there's no shame in my game. But yes, Morgan, we have been stalking you. We've been manifesting this for quite some time. We've been in... Oh, did you introduce it?
No, we did.
Sorry.
Go ahead. You're on a roll.
I got too excited.
Go for it.
I got excited. Today, you guys, a very long time coming, we have manifested the one and only, the CEO, the serial entrepreneur, the author, Morgan DeBaun, the CEO of
Blavity Inc.
Blavity Inc.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes.
We're very excited. I'm very inspired.
Getting into all the things.
Yeah.
So, little backstory, Morgan. Me and Milah actually saw you / we're trying to get your attention one time at Soho House.
Oh my gosh, that was y'all!
And I fell on your friend?
Yes, that was...
you remember that?
I do remember it. Because it was the middle of Afrotech World when we were in the metaverse and we were watching Afrotech World. It was me, my chief of staff, Kate, and I think my boyfriend was there. Josh was there.
I don't think he got there yet because I'd be stalking, so I would have known. But
okay.
we were with the other woman.
Yes,
and we're should we say LA?
You were in the thick of important shit.
Yeah.
We're should we say something?
LA is such a weird.
We were actually working on our book.
LA is such a weird place. It's you want it you should network, but then it's you don't want to be you don't want to be extra, and then people are get the fuck away from me, bitch. I don't know you. And then you're hi, but this is my chance. So it was but then I didn't do anything except trip over her full friend. She was sitting, and I was okay, well, I'm not gonna do that.
But I remembered. You should have said that in the email.
Well, that was us.
The next day, I was like, "Do you think we should DM her and tell her
that you fell on her?"
Yeah, it might be in the DMs actually. Hey, girl, I fell on your friend today. Just wanted to say if you want to come on the show.
Well, I'm here now, so it worked out.
We got you. Whew, thank God. Shout out to Nelly.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you. We've seen you, like, really watched you grow, and like watch the platforms grow, and like it's fucking amazing. There's not a lot of young Black women entrepreneurs, leveling up in the way that you have,
especially in tech. I don't know much about tech, but I just know that it's predominantly a white male space.
Yes,
like, to the maximum.
There's nothing whiter. Maybe banking, but like it's up there. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I heard that like you kind of got into this at a really young age, though, like even investing in stocks at like age 13 or something.
Yep. I've been investing in the stock market since I was 13.
How, like, why?
Yeah,
like,
why?
Like at 13, I was like trying to make out or something. Some weird shit, like trying to sneak.
I was doing that too.
Some shit that was going to make you absolutely no money.
Shout out to my parents. I mean, that was really it. I was super competitive. Like, I've been a competitive person my whole life. And so my parents just like gamified everything. So everything from like grades to like, if you read these books over the summer, then you get this. So they just figured out, they like mastered me basically. And my dad set up basically a game with the stock market where if my grandma gave me $100 every year, regardless of inflation or anything, it was just a $100 check. And he said, okay, if you save half of it, you always have to save half of it. You can spend the other half on like bubblegum money, like whatever you want. But if you invest half, we will match it. And I was like, I can do that math.
Say less.
Like, I am old enough to be able to do that math, So then I just started investing it because I was just like...
trying to get more.
Yeah, why not? And then...
How were they, were they guiding you on where to invest in or like...
No, they were teaching me how to make my own decisions. So like when we would go to Starbucks or Panera Bread or Best Buy, they would be like, do you know who owns this? Like... do you know about this company? Is this a company you would invest in? And so it was just a constant conversation, mostly with my father. And then I started to just be like, oh my God, this is so interesting. And I started making recommendations to him like, Dad, everybody's using this thing called Netflix. And he was like, no, because at the time DVDs were still a thing. He was like, no, like people are still going into Blockbuster. And I was like, no, I think that Netflix, like all my friends are using Netflix. And if I had bought Netflix at that time, your girl would be on a beach somewhere. Like, I remember I actually bought it and then he was like, you should sell it and like buy something else. And I did. And I still hold it against him to this day. Because I'm like, Dad, my little mailbox money would be actually popping right now. But yeah, it was just a constant back and forth until the point where I think I was around 16 that I had a job. I worked at Toys R Us. I worked at Delia's. Shout out to Delia's. The folding of all the T-shirts on that wall was miserable. And I was investing the money from my job where my parents were like, we're not matching this anymore. Like, you're good. Yeah, we're done. But I think once you learn how the financial system works and compounding interest and like you see how powerful it is to start at any age, really yesterday is always the best age, how freeing it is, really changed my life. My first Blavity was started with my money that I saved and I bootstrapped the company for a year. So I had freedom to make my own decisions about what I wanted it to be. I didn't have to rely on investors. And...
Was a lot of that money from your investments?
Yeah.
Like even early on from like being 13.
Yep. And every time I got money, I would always like invest some of it and just think about it. Like I bought Facebook stock at $17. Wow. So like the stock has split since then and all these different things. So it's never too late to get going.
Were either of your parents in finance? Is that their background? Or they just were like, you're going to do this?
Just black and smart. They went to Howard, just normal black folks from St. Louis, like nothing spectacular. I mean, I have great parents, but like, no. My dad's a doctor. My mom's a stay-at-home mom.
Oh my God, I need to gamify my kid. I hope this works. Like,
you can do it.
You know what? I really think that my daughter's built for this.
That is
I
her
really
personality.
do. My daughter could be the next Morgan DeBaun. I'm really feeling it. 'Cause she's really competitive and she really likes to win. And she loves school. And so I've been trying to. I'm always encouraging her, and obviously in school and in ways. But gamifying, I love that. First of all, I love that word and that concept of like doing that, because I mean, even me, like, I mean, I need to gamify myself,
Right?
And it's fun to like look at stuff and be like, you know what, everyone is like wearing this right now, or like no one is wearing that, or like people love this CEO, or like I never hear anyone talk about this CEO, and then to actually read about these things. The other thing that I was doing at a young age is you can look at the investor report. So every quarter, every publicly traded company puts out their report, and they actually talk about what their trends are, what they're going to do, where they're making their investments, and you can see every single piece of revenue for all of their divisions. So you can go look and see what BET is making. You can go look and see, what Warner Brothers and all these other companies are making. How fun is that?
right? And so that you can make smarter choices as well.
So you can make
You're
smarter
more
choices.
more informed.
Yep.
That's so interesting. Wow.
How did Blavity come to be? Like, how did that idea grow? Like, what was like, you're like, I need to do this. This is important.
A couple things. At the time I was living in San Francisco. I was working at a tech company, Intuit, which is, they make TurboTax and like Mint.com, QuickBooks.
Yeah. I see them in my email all the time.
You know what I'm saying? Hopefully with invoices that are getting paid. But like, you think about Intuit, one, you don't know what Intuit is. Like, you know the product. It's a house of brands, not a branded house. And then two, I was like learning so much about how these tech companies, all based in Silicon Valley, build products for billions and billions of people. And when you meet these guys, they're just like Joe down the street. Like, they're not special. They're not smarter than us. They're not more educated than us. Like, they go to normal, regular ass schools. Like, they don't all go to Stanford, MIT, or anything like that. And this is supposed to be the most innovative place in the world, right? This is supposed to be the place that is building products to solve the problems of society. And they have, however, not our problems. And I felt like, okay, I'm 23 at the time when I was thinking about this. I have no risk. I got no kids. I got no debt. Like, I'm good. So if I'm ever going to take a risk and bet on myself, I should do it now. So that was one thing. And then, so I knew I always wanted to start something. And then two, Blavity specifically was a reaction to two things. One, I felt like this generation of Black folks, we didn't have anything for ourselves yet. Like, the generation before us had Ebony and Essence and like, Black Enterprise. They're all still here today after many ups and downs and changes of hands, but they're not like screaming our language, especially almost 10 years ago.
Right.
And then two, Mike Brown got killed, and I was living in San Francisco. I'm from St. Louis, and so I kind of was like, I need to be of service. I want my life to matter. I'm 4'11". I'm not going to be like in the street protesting. That's not my ministry. Like, that's not where I'm bringing my best self and my best contribution in my brain to this global Black economy. But I am one of very few people in the Black tech ecosystem and in Silicon Valley at the time that had the capacity, the risk tolerance, and the safety net of like having, no, like, whatever, I live in my parents' basement if I mess up. Like, that's not the end of the world, and why not me? So that was the beginning of like how I got my mind around starting on this journey.
And did you start Blavity while you were in San Francisco? Like, is that where Blavity was, I guess, founded? Was it out there?
Yeah, in my apartment. Very cliche, but it's true.
While you're still working for the other company.
Absolutely. Being on West Coast hours, I would wake up at 6 because it's 9 a.m. I would have like morning calls, with people on the East Coast, go to work, come home, get back at it.
And when you started Blavity, what was like really like the mission? Was it to, I guess, create a platform for Black stories to be told, what was really like at the beginning? Because I'm sure it's grown since then. But what was it at its beginning?
To be honest with you, the mission was to create a platform for Black people and to leverage media and content to build trust and audience so that we could go do other things. So I always knew there's probably some early interviews with me and like Julian Mitchell, you know, and talking about, I don't want to be in media because media is like a super shitty business. I mean, you all know, like it's really, really hard. But it's the best way to bring people together around stories and around narratives and around talking about things that other people don't talk about. Businesses that aren't going to get featured anywhere else. Like Blavity has been the first to break so many stories, to shine light on so many entrepreneurs and issues that like otherwise wouldn't have gotten coverage. And then because we're successful, we're able to like, then MSN picks it up, or then HuffPo picks it up, and then, you know, CNN picks it up, and it becomes this whole ecosystem. But it's also, you know, now we're so big that we can actually make a difference, right? So like first you got to build the audience, get the power. And then it's like, okay, what are you going to do with it?
Right.
You know, and so we're in the what are we doing with it phase, which is so much more fun than the early phase.
That's a beautiful place to be.
Bruh.
I think people forget that. I think people like see successful people or see successful businesses, like especially like in the time of social media, right? And they're like, and I see it all the time. I'm like, especially like living in LA and shit. It's like, oh yeah, like I have 100,000 followers, and then I'm like, but what?
Yeah, like and then what?
But like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Like, you're a rapper? Like not like that particularly. Like that's whatever. But no shade to the rappers.
Shout out to the rappers.
I'm talking about someone specific.
Yeah, I'm like, there's
Who
a
are you
very
talking
specific
about?
person.
You know what I'm talking about.
Person you're talking
My baby
about.
daddy?
No.
Oh.
Bitch,
Oh,
no.
you said rapper. I'm like, I don't know who you're
He made
of.
it, not him. I'm talking about somebody from another platform that we did that was fucking a horrible platform.
Now you're gonna have the girls in the comments talking about who this is.
They're gonna know who it is. If
Okay.
you're our people. We went.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like, you know, it's just there's no end goal, and I think people fuck that up a lot. And
Ego.
And they
Ego's
think,
the angle.
Well, the angle is also clickbait. It's just people just want to just.
This is giving Atlanta.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like that when I'm like in Atlanta, I'm like, I can't do it, y'all, because it's just, what are we doing? Why are we spending what is behind the stuff?
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, there's
just
nothing.
giving up appearances.
There is nothing behind
There's
the stuff.
hookah, there's a DJ, and there
right.
will be fried chicken or fried fish, and it will be good.
And maybe a mimosa
And-
later.
No, there will be a mimosa.
Which I'm actually fine with the lifestyle if there is substance behind it. And I think so much, unfortunately, in our community is just reinforced from just the clout chasing that like sometimes those people like fail up, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, it actually worked for you.
That's true.
But then it, like it sits in, and you're up there, and then you're like,
What
how
do I do
stay
now?
there?
How
What do
can I
I do?
sustain?
Well, it just never stops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't aspire to that, and I don't think you all either.
No. I feel like when you have a platform that is literally built on just clickbait and zero substance, I feel like it's such a rat race to try to constantly try to like find a story, make a story up, bait someone to say some shit. Like it just becomes so disingenuine, and also karmically I feel like you're fucked. I feel like God is gonna be like, gonna strike you down at some point.
There are definitely times where I have to get off Instagram because I can see you just see so much, and you're like, wait a minute, stop. Like, don't compare yourself to this. This is not your path, you know? And I think that the internet has just done so much. I mean, we were just talking about this from like a mental health perspective, where it's just such constant bombarding with messages. As someone who runs a media company, it's just fascinating because we do get access to so much truth. And I'm like, oh man, if people actually knew truth, it would be a different Instagram. Like, it would be a different show.
I feel like people know truth, but they just ignore it. They like have their blinders on. I think we know that we're fucked. I think it's pretty clear that we keep fucking shit up. I don't think there's like, it's like right here, like the world's ending.
Yeah.
We're fucking up.
It's like that movie
They're
Up.
like, give me a plastic bottle.
What's it? Don't look up.
Don't look up.
Don't look up.
No,
yeah.
it literally is, and it's just like it's not. I don't know. I'm like I believe that most of Americans are sheeple, but like that's just people. Like you really, I guess it's a comfort thing. It's like ignore, even if I know the truth, because I'm too scared to just like
Address it.
Yeah, like act in a way that's matters.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question, because you do have a media company in ways. Do you feel like you have a responsibility in that way too, because of the content that you choose to share? And like, you know, especially, okay, like now you have this platform that is essentially moving the needle and getting stories that maybe would have never gotten coverage to be covered and to get attention. But on the flip side, like, people are also coming on your platform for entertainment and for news source and for clickbait even at times, you know?
Yeah.
Like, how do you find a balance in between those things?
The balance is really hard because we started off being like, I was very Black militant. Like, I was very for the people, by the people, Black everything, Black employees, Black board. Like, I was very, we're going to do it all, you know? And then reality set in. And it was like, actually, that's not very sustainable. Like, you need a diverse workforce. You need a diverse board. You need a moat around you, because business goes up and down. That also meant same thing with content. So there's plenty of stories that are the right thing to do. But what you learn is that people actually, to your point, don't actually click the right thing to read. They don't want to see it. Like, so we have to make editorial decisions about environmental justice is something that Black folks need to know about. Injustice, I should say. You know, like food insecurities, water cleanliness. Like, we implicitly know Flint, Michigan is still like struggling, but we don't really want to hear about it every day. But if we don't, as a Black media company, talk about it, why would the white folks talk about it? So it's literally our job to apply pressure, but we as Black folks are also fucking exhausted. So it's challenging. I mean, I've had editors quit, not because they don't love working at Blavity, but because it's exhausting to actually face the reality of all of the things that you have to cover and read. Like, any Black kid who's shot. You know, there's certain stories right now where there's this Black kid that just got dismantled. He had called his mom, you know, and a couple hours before him was like, I'm being chased. And the police officers are like, nope, he's fine. Like, no, you know, foul play. And everyone's like, dude, you know, if we don't cover that story, is it going to get picked up nationally?
No.
But are we going to cover that story every day? You guys would never click. So it's this weird balance, and we don't always get it right. It's not easy, but it is a constant discussion. It's a constant back and forth. You know, I've spent lots of money trying to get people to care about shit that I know they don't care about, and also avoiding writing about the Kardashians, which would get a lot of clicks.
Wow, that's a heavy balance. I mean, that's a hard balance, and I understand that. Like, even fucking scrolling through Instagram, even recently I was looking, a lot of, like, not even comparing this because this is different, but like a lot of the Black media outlets where we get gossip and like the fake news and all this shit that really doesn't matter at all. Yeah. And I'm like, and sometimes, and it's not even about Black violence and those things. Sometimes I do scroll past because I'm depressed and I'm emotional. I'm a Cancer and a bitch be crying midday.
You have empathy.
No, literally, I'm like, I can't. Like,
you don't want to consume it.
I can't.
Yeah.
But on the flip hand, like, I see like Ghetto network. I mean, Ghetto like media outlets that I know are like owned by Black people, and it's like the stupidest fucking shit. And then on the bottom, it's like, we don't condone violence. I'm
it's like, oh, come on.
Right. I'm like, this, like, like, just take that line off.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, like, it's exploitative, and it's like.
But they wouldn't write it if it didn't get clicks.
I know.
And I have the data. You know, we have a huge publisher network where we work with a lot of entertainment brands, and we know what does well and what doesn't do well. The data is real. The stuff is getting rid about it because people are clicking it.
So I have to keep hearing about Blueface and Crescendo.
I mean, I feel like we've all watched at least 7 clips of them from front to back. I've done it too. And I'm like, oh, you're pregnant?
I'm like, why are you
houseway?
I was like,
houseway?
Poor baby.
I hope. I was like, I thought you were going to like.
But like, why do I care?
Right.
Why am I invested?
We don't know these people.
This is not my homegirl.
I don't need to ever know them.
I don't want to know you.
And meanwhile, I'm in the comments like, girl, you are tripping.
Yeah, I'm like those comments that are like, please don't. But that's the point. And I think that, you know, generally media is hard too because I don't own Instagram. I don't own TikTok. I don't own Facebook. Like, so you're also building conversations and audience, and you're not getting paid to keep these platforms alive, and that doesn't pay my bills. That doesn't pay our payroll. Having a bunch of likes on Instagram. So it's a weird industry overall, which is why as a company we actually, yes, we care about the views and the clicks and the sessions on the site, but we actually care about intent from the views. So like, is your intention when you're reading a travel noir article eventually to book a trip? buy a flight, get a hotel, discover a new place. Like, I'd rather have a smaller audience that is engaged and is actually like going through like Afrotech. Okay, yes, you can read this cool article about Robert Smith or like whatever, but are you looking for a job? Right? And then that actually creates a better ecosystem for the Black economy at large.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I love Travel Noir.
Me too. It's
I'm going there,
fave.
saving this.
Yeah.
But I think that's a huge misconception in general, and like in this last, like, I guess 10, 20 years. How long has Instagram been around?
Not even that long.
I got mine late.
15 years, maybe?
Yeah.
Oof. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
We're getting older. That sounds crazy.
Yeah, it's about 15 years because I remember,
But like, I think people have this crazy misconception of like, if you have a lot of followers, then that equates to success. And even with us, like, I mean, not like we're crazy, like fucking like popping, but people are like, oh, I see you like getting Hollywood now. I'm like, bitch,
We've been doing this work.
Don't equal money.
Facts.
I was like, first of all, but I see the like, people put so much into that in their businesses and like, or, you know, not really businesses or whatever. You know, I see all these bitches with a lot of fucking, you have a whole lot of followers and everybody has an online boutique and fucking eyelashes.
But people buy them in Atlanta, so them girls is cash flowing.
Some of those boutiques is popping.
They are cash flowing. I know those girls. No, I'm serious. They are making such good cash. They are.
I agree. And some are not.
Maybe not the lashes, but the online
I'm like,
boutiques.
this can't be a good turnaround. I'm like, this
not the lashes.
I'm like, how many strip lashes can you buy? How many? How much are you profiting?
These are
over there?
singles, so
maybe I'm a hater because I'm an ex-esthetician. I was doing the eyelash extensions. I was like, stop selling the fucking
lashes.
Stop with the strips. They look terrible. No, but I think it's an interesting, like, being a woman and being an entrepreneur, especially for you, because you're in a like male dominated industry, especially being in tech. Like, what are some of the like obstacles that you've had, like, and challenges you've had, like, and ways you've had to show up being a woman, and not only that, a Black woman in this space? And like, you know, I think there's like, for women, there's this weird dance we have to do. Yeah. And it's like, I'm soft, but I'm deliberate, but I'm not being a bitch, but I'm not, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm not a pushover.
But I'm not showing too much thigh, but is it enough though? Are you going to do it?
It's certainly evolved. You know, I have way more freedom now because I'm kind of like, I mean, if you can't see my receipts,
that bitch.
Yeah, like,
you're that bitch.
like I don't need you, so we're good. But I did need you, so we acted differently. When I first started the company, I was very Silicon Valley. Blavity t-shirt, black pants, black boots, glasses, curly hair, just trying to blend in, which is like impossible. And it was very much like no frills. But what I wanted the white boys to say about me is, Morgan is hardcore. We're betting on her. Like, she's a fucking boss. She's fierce. She's a shark. She's going to get it done. Like, that was the only narrative that would have gotten me to be able to let them give me millions.
Right.
Was that they thought that I could be hardcore enough to make it through. Because you did need to be hardcore. Like, it was not cute.
What does hardcore mean in tech?
In tech? It means by any means necessary. Like, working 15-hour days, sleeping with your laptop. It means flying across the country on your own dollar. It means sleeping on couches, you know, because you don't want to waste money on hotels. Like, it means there's no job too little. Like, I'm answering support emails as somebody else. I'm my own assistant. Like, there's no job that I would not do for this thing that I'm growing. And this money that I took on from other people who give me millions of dollars that I don't have to pay back. Like, I mean, we do as a company, but it's like, personally, I don't have to pay back. There's nothing that she wouldn't do. That's a shark. You know, she's going to get it done. And I think that this person, like, if I had showed up this way, it would not be, she's a shark. Okay. But I had to actually work really hard to unlearn all the trauma that I had to take on through the process to be like shift from founder survival mode to executive, CEO, chairperson, shareholder, right? All of these other identities that I hold now. These identities were cute, but they didn't matter because like you have to make it through to even get over here, right? So it was I think it was a journey for me personally. I'm sure my employees feel the same because they've seen that transition. Those who've been with me since, my first employee still works for us. Wow. There's a lot of people we lost along the way. And if you only saw me in different periods of time, your experience with me would be very different.
Mm. And I know that's, I don't know if you carry that with you because
I do. I carry some guilt. I feel bad for people who I'm like, oh, you were actually fantastic. But like, you didn't understand what we were up against. You thought you were just coming to work at like a HBCU. And I'm like, somebody has to pay these bills. Like, you're a salesperson. You closed no revenue all year. You were supposed to close $1 million. Like, what do you think? I have to make that money back up. Like, I got to go close it now, right? Like, these are people's lives. I'm paying for somebody's kids' braces. Like this is a responsibility. This is not just kicks and giggles and like free food.
Right.
But that transition, man, it was not cute.
How did you transition from all those roles, like you said, like founder survival mode to exec? Like, I think that people underestimate like the mindset that has to come with that shift, and what tools have you used to like shift into this role, this woman that you are now?
So many different things. I mean, I think therapy, of course, but my therapy, like I probably have been depressed along the way because like everybody gets depressed and sad and kind of like, what the fuck is this?
Keep going because you have to keep going.
But like, what am I going to do? Not go to work?
Time.
You gotta go to work. I had coaches. I have co-founders who I leaned on, like in times when I was like, I know I'm not doing this well. I need you to do this because I don't actually think that the business will receive it from me. They need to receive it from you as men. Like, you need to carry this. And that was challenging, I think, for certain people, but it was not between me and my co-founders. It was the right move. I also had to do a lot of like self-work on my own femininity because it was very masculine energy for such a long period of time. Like, I had a chip on my shoulder. So even in my personal life, I had a chip on my shoulder. Like, I was basically a man. Like, I was out here just manning,
How did you tap into your femininity?
Yeah, well, that was hard. I moved. I mean, I think that was one thing, like actually leaving LA and readjusting my physical space was really important because when I lived here, I lived to work. Like, I walked to the office. I lived in the office when our first office, the office and my bedroom were next door to each other. Like, this was my life. So I had to detach from Blavity as a person to Blavity as a company that I own and employed by. Am responsible for, but I am also a person and I'm allowed to have a life and I'm allowed to paint on the weekends or, ride my bike, plant a tree, like, fuck it, whatever, like, do whatever. Tap out. Like, and that's actually better in the long run for me, but it just took a lot of time. You got to go down before you can get there.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be really challenging. I think even with us, if you're building something and you're so excited about it, like it becomes like you can't, like the moment you wake up, you're in it.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of the night.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think there's just phases and you just need to know when it's time to recalibrate. Though. Exactly.
It is not sustainable.
No, it should never be forever. So like anyone who's in grind mode forever, I'm like, that's not necessary. It's either you, it's actually, it's not anything else. It's you. Like, it's not a requirement. Hard work for an extended period of time, years, of course.
I always love this this quote that I've heard, and we talk about it a lot. Is like, and I wonder if you relate to this now or like currently, and or if this is kind of a thing of the past. Is like your value being linked to your productivity. Because I think a lot of female entrepreneurs get into this mode of like work.
Yeah.
Becoming their identity being so wrapped up in their whatever their business is. And I know for me, I've had to like really battle with that concept. Like, is my value totally linked to this?
I view productivity. I do believe that my value is tied to productivity, but I don't view productivity as the amount of hours I put in. So like, I can sit with a business or an entrepreneur and something that will take them 25 hours, I can do in 10 minutes. That I'm still productive. You know what I mean? So I do believe that like there are certainly times when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, what is the most important thing for me to do today? And if I just do that one thing, then I'm productive. It's not, my calendar is not packed, right? Like today I was like, nope, this is it. And I'm done. Like I did my mornings, I did my meetings. I was on calls on the way to this conversation, but I wanted to be fully present. I knew if I had stuff later, then I'm going to be thinking about that. This is it. Me, and I got drinks with my girl, Carly. That's it. And I think that Black women, we have to value not the amount of time we spend, but the impact of the work that we do. You know what I mean? And that, to me, is productivity.
I like that. Not the time we spend, but the impact of the work that we do. Yeah, I think also, like, for Black women, we're being educated at the highest rate. We're like opening businesses at the highest rate. But there's also this stereotype of Black women being masculine. And, we're having like this trend of soft life. It's like, what the fuck does that mean?
I'm like, so you're not working? What are we doing?
Like, opposed to a hard life? Like, I don't want a hard life.
True.
But it's just like, it's difficult because when you're an entrepreneur and you're a businesswoman and you eat, breathe, sleep your shit because you know it's impactful and you believe in it and it matters.
Yeah.
It's like this fine line. And I believe like also you work hard and then you're like, okay, bitch.
That's enough.
Okay. But I think...
do you think entrepreneurs can have a soft life?
I do.
You think so?
I do.
How do you all define it?
We had this conversation not too long ago, and we got a lot of shit.
I was like, the girls have already tapped in on this.
Our guest was like, shout out to Trap Yoga Bay. She was like, she feels like it means docile, and like,
oh, really?
I don't want to, like, I don't know what her like definition was. And then it made me think, like, what the fuck is soft life? But I think it's just like you said, like working hard but doing less.
Yes.
Like realizing that I can be impactful without doing like 100 million things and outsourcing and being like, hey, bitch, you do this. Hey, you do this. Hire the people.
Yeah. Which is how society has run since like the beginning of time, like Egyptians, like.
Yeah, I think it is a lot of outsourcing is a great word because I think as women we feel, especially in entrepreneurship, we feel like we have a lot to prove, and so we want to take on every role instead of saying, "Hey, you do that. I don't know, pick that up."
See, I'll give you an example of something a coach told me once. We were on a call, and I was talking about how I just felt so overwhelmed. There was so much going on, and I felt like I wasn't giving my employees enough time. I was trying to like step back and like not be a micromanager and da-da-da-da. And she said, well, if you had an opportunity during the day to, read a business book, read some articles, and then also, people were coming to you with fires and you needed to address them, which one do you think is more valuable use of your time? And I was like, if there's a problem, I need to solve it. And she said, no, you should be reading the book and reading the articles because you need to be in the future. And if you're never in the future, then your business never will get there. And the fires and the things, that's today. You could spend all day. That'll never stop if you're sitting in the fires. And it's like that kind of perspective that helped me release the guilt, the shame of being like, hey, there's a problem. You two fix it and tell me what happened.
Figure it out.
And there's no shame in that.
I think also when you build something and you've done every job, every aspect of it, you're like, fuck it, I'll make the graphic. Just move. Just get out of my way.
Yeah. Sometimes I do ask myself, I'm like, why the fuck if I have to do it, why are you here?
Right.
But it's because you know you can do it, and then there's also that like no one can do it better than me, but like no, someone can do it better than you, and they will. But there's
you haven't found the right person,
right?
And if they can do it 80%, this is the rule. If they can do it 80% as good as you, they should do it. You shouldn't do it if someone else can do it 80%. Because your time is worth more.
Rule.
That makes sense.
I like that.
Yep.
I mean, because like no one's going to be just like you.
No one's going to be 100%. But if they can do 80%, you shouldn't do it.
You should be reading a book and thinking about your future.
Basically.
Honestly, I mean, I think
strategy.
I think with our business, we have had to release control. You know, I'm definitely a micromanager in ways. I can be. And so stepping back from the business because I realized that my micromanaging wasn't helping anything. And also, I was like, why am I paying people if I'm going to do it anyway? And I'm not happy. I love what I do, but it's becoming, it's making me feel, I guess, unhappy in ways because I felt like I didn't have time for myself.
Right.
And so relinquishing that control has been so life-changing for me. And like having real work boundaries and saying, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. Sorry. I'm actually working out at 12 o'clock. I'm not available for that.
Right.
And then, and being like, Erica's working out at 12 o'clock. Like, yep, sure am.
It's on my calendar, actually.
I'm actually not. No, I'm not going to record then. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it's like, and like staying true to that. And like, even having to, even like with Milah, like saying like, well, Milah has to do that. So she can't do that either. Cause like sometimes we have to like, we have to help each other with our own boundaries.
Yeah. That's critical.
You have to go to soccer. It's fine. We don't need to. If you have to be a mom this Saturday, it's fine. Just
do momming.
Yeah.
I think that's fair, and I think it's important to have those accountability partners. And like, I do that in business as well, right? Like, I will tell my team, my chief and staff, like, it says lunch on my calendar. My team doesn't schedule meetings during lunch. Am I eating lunch? Am I not eating lunch? It doesn't matter. Like, it says lunch. Don't you schedule over it? Mm-hmm. So just setting those boundaries and then communicating them in a way that people can actually interact with you is so, for me, has been like super helpful.
Because there comes a time where you work really, really hard and you're putting out a lot of fires and you're like, there's never like a sleep point. I think everybody works and they're like, I'm going to get to this point and I'm going to be a billionaire and I'm going to everything's going to be set up and I'm going to be gone. But it's like, I mean, that can happen. That will happen.
Do you all have an end? When is enough?
When I can charter a yacht.
Oh my gosh.
3 times a year.
Okay.
For a month each.
Ooh.
In like the south of Italy, the Caribbean, with all my friends. Yeah, that's my.
Have you done the math yet?
No.
I encourage you to do the math. It's probably not as expensive as you think.
Okay. Well, shit. Maybe it's closer than I think.
Maybe it's closer than you think.
I thought that. I was like, we should look into these numbers because I don't think it's as far as I think it is.
Yeah, yacht for a week is 20 to 30,000
for 1 week. 20, 40, 60,
fully
80.
staffed food and
Staff
massages.
Full.
How many people
Food.
can it sleep?
Up to 6, 8.
Okay,
If you want like a catamaran, or if you want like a big body yacht, obviously you can be like ridiculous and get up to 50 or 100K a week. But
I feel like a catamaran overnight is like, I guess like we've got on a catamaran. That was a pretty big catamaran.
I did it last year.
For how long?
We did a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you over it by the week?
Croatia. Yeah.
You did yacht week?
Girl, yeah.
Was it
That's a whole nother thing for
That's
another
like Vegas
day.
on a boat, right?
Yeah. It was messy. There's a lot of receipts. You can read Travel Noir if you're curious how it went. But yeah. But the retreat, we did Yacht Nick. Okay. That was the problem.
Oh, like Freak Nick?
Right. So it was a lot.
Oh, so this was like a retreat that you went and you had people come like.
This was someone else's retreat.
Got it.
Don't you put that on me. And it's too much. But basically, it was somebody else's retreat. They used the boats from Yacht Week in Croatia and other places. And anyways, we had a great time. But it was a clusterfuck. Mm-hmm. Our boat was fine, but everybody else had a rough time. Mm-hmm. Either way, I was on a yacht for a week with my best friends, and it was very obtainable, I guess is my point. Like, I, too, have been like, okay, what's my dream world? And I think it's so important for Black women for us to actually say, like, this is my dream scenario. It's work 3 days a week. It's, be able to rent a house in Costa Rica and Puerto for 2 months. It's be on a yacht, da-da-da-da, and then just put the price on it. Like, just actually bucket it out, because especially if you can invest your cash, the interest on $10 million, the interest on $20 million, the interest on $50 million is probably enough to pay for your lifestyle. So you actually know what your number is.
I think that's really important, because I honestly have dreams and aspirations, but I haven't written them all the way down and said, this is it. And when I get to this point, because I think if you don't, then you get there and you don't even realize you got there.
And that's what made me like start that exercise, is because I have friends where I'm like, you are so fine. Like, you are good, bro. Like, you're fine. Why are you doing this to yourself? Like, when is it enough? And the answer is, it will never be enough. You will never stop forever.
If you don't have an end game.
Yeah. Like,
but do you think it's deeper than just the end game when it's that? Like, there's like a lack. There's like a lack of fulfillment inside, besides whatever the end game is.
Yes,
it's a seeking.
It's a comparison too. It's well, I know this other person and I think I'm better than them or the same as them, but they're over here and I'm over here. It's a lacking in comparison, which is a never ending. To your point, like, that's never going to end. You're always going to be making less money than somebody else.
Right.
Forever. Like,
there's always going to be a richer motherfucker.
There's always going to be a richer motherfucker. And those people, it changes all the time, right? Like Elon Musk today, Jeff Bezos tomorrow. Right. Like, depends on the stock market that day. So they can't even count their money. Like, they don't even know how much they're losing billions and making billions every other week. Like, is that really does that matter?
Right.
No.
Right.
There's got to be a number.
That is so important. I just realized that. Like, why the fuck have I never looked up the price of a yacht for a week?
Let's do it.
I've been thinking about this for years.
Yep.
but I was just thinking, like, we had this conversation with someone else too about thinking that things are unobtainable, like putting things outside of your scope. And even for me, like, I'm not even gonna look up that number because we're not there yet. But like, bitch, you don't even know if you're there yet because you didn't even check in. You didn't even check with 6 of your friends.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right.
Listen, you get your coins up.
And like, I imagine too, when people go on Nobu and Cabo, I'm like, I know how much those cost per night. If everybody does that, y'all could have just been on a yacht for a week.
Right.
Girl, I mean, it's just, I mean, that's just in general. I think when it comes to taking care of yourself and investing in yourself and investing in your self-care, whatever that looks like to you. I mean, I think about even like the retreats that we do, and you know, a lot of women look at the price tag, and I think our retreats are really reasonably priced for everything that you get, and people
it's like
are
$3,500.
I think like that's the base, and then you have solo rooms, and I think it's up to like $5.
Totally reasonable,
and it's all inclusive. And so I think you will spend $300 on one meal
At fucking Nobu.
At Nobu.
If you can get in.
Right.
Or
whatever. You'll spend a rack on that fucking lace front, bitch.
Literally.
That is
literally not the install. Not even the install.
You
just the wig. No
wig. $2,500 on the install.
It's backwards.
The hair, like, girl, the hair, the Malaysian, whatever the fuck.
Right.
And you're telling me that it's
$3,500 a month on rent.
Right.
Not a mortgage.
And it's unattainable.
Yeah.
And granted, listen, for people that are listening to this and getting triggered because they're like, you don't know my bank account. Shit. I don't know your bank account, but you know, and you know how much you spend on Ubers. You know how much you spend on coffee. You know how much you spend on whatever the fuck you're doing over there.
DoorDash.
And you're not fulfilled. You look cute for a minute and you're like, okay, well, that was fun. Or that meal was good and now you're shitting it in the toilet. It's gone now, girl. Like, I'm just like...
It's just crazy the value, because we've even had people, you know, come for us, like, you know, this is a single mom demographic and this is like out, like... It's
about like luxury?
Like, it's a recession and like... almost suggesting that like all single moms can't afford this, and I was like, this seems like a projection. And it also sounds like you don't value your experiences and your self-care and your wellness because it seems so much. And not to say everybody's coins are the same, because everybody's shit goes up and down and has, you know, I'm fucking a single mom, I get it, but it is about like, do you see value in the wellness of yourself? Is it like, you know, people will do all these things because they're like short, quick
nails, hair,
quick like satisfactions or whatever, quick whatever the hell, you know what I'm trying to say. But like these long term, you know, even I've heard people be like, no, therapy, that shit is expensive, and it is. But bitch, how much do you want to be well?
But also, like, you are your biggest asset and your biggest tool. Like, your body is the thing that's fueling your ability to like exist and work, and your mind and your ability to expand your mind and like remove beliefs that are limiting and all these things is like your money maker. So I spend a shit ton of money on my personal development because that is what's making everybody money. It's what making everybody rich. Right. So it's to me, when people aren't incapable of like getting there, it's a different level of self to like fully understand the power that we have within ourselves, you know, and there's a lot of reasons for that, especially for as Black people. We are taught and we have been trained and we have been sold and we have been disassociated in our minds with our body and our worth. But like, if you can move past that, it's infinite.
Right.
You have to invest in the mental health care to
literally
move past that trauma.
It's a tool. Like, I think I heard LeBron spends like over $1 million a year on his body because it's his moneymaker, right? Like, we should be maybe not $1 million, but like a couple thousand.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Don't skimp on yourself. Don't skimp on what is fueling you and floating you through this life and, and your existence here. Because if you're falling short in different parts of your life and not showing up for people or not showing up for yourself, a lot of it is because you're not taking care of yourself. I know for me, like, the way I eat is so crucial for me. And over the past few years, I've really just had to like submit to that. And because I've been like in denial.
And see, this is big in Silicon Valley. I think this is something I also learned from white folks, was just like, they really value their body, like the supplements. Like, I've never seen more supplements in my life. I didn't even know.
You know what I get? When I think of Silicon Valley, I just think of a lot of white men doing cocaine next to computers.
They do that too, but then they get the IV.
They
like, it's
balance.
so intense. Like, they're so in tune with their like performance as an individual. Like, a lot of them do cocaine because it improves their performance.
Right. They can work all night.
And increase their sharpness. And then they take the melatonin and they take the this and they take the that to be able to go to sleep. And like, they are so in tune with the ups and downs of their ecosystem as a body and how that impacts their ability to make money. Mm-hmm. That is fucking incredible. Like, I didn't take that many supplements until COVID. And then I like unlocked a whole nother level. I was like, oh my God, what is this lion's mane? Like, started taking little mushroom types. And then I learned white people have been doing this forever. Mm. And so have black people in certain parts of the world, but not
America.
Not in St. Louis. So that maybe in other parts of America.
Maybe in the Valley. Maybe
you know what I think of?
I
think of like these different documentaries that I've seen. And even like someone sent me something recently. And it's like a wellness room where people are like taking all types of drugs, but they're monitored while they're taking drugs.
Like psychedelics.
The psychedelic, like these psychedelic monitored experiences.
Yes. Well, therapists, they're like...
No, but like they're in a room and they're like getting fed... What is that drug?
Ayahuasca?
It's not ayahuasca. It's... Fuck. What is it? It's like a pretty intense drug that you should never take. Ketamine experiences.
No, well, ketamine is also now like they're using that for therapy.
But
too.
that's what I'm saying. Like they're like having ketamine IVs that are being monitored by, and it's like allowing them to like untap. Like this guy was saying, like, I remember when I was in my mother's womb, and I realized. Some white people shit, but like
you're not supposed to say that.
I know, because eventually black people are going to get on board too. But
yeah, right? Maybe, I don't know. Ketamine's a little high risk.
Not ketamine, but like they are they're open to trying anything they can in order to be their best selves
and to open other parts of your mind. And I think, Steve Jobs did like drugs every day. You know what I mean? Like, it really has been a part of tech culture, Silicon Valley culture, innovation culture, creative culture forever. It's just interesting now that like we're all regulating it.
Well, now it's like, oh yes, like I'm going to take this cocaine pill. I'm going to microdose cocaine.
Oh my God, that's going to be a thing. Like I don't do cocaine. I just microdose.
Yeah,
it's Adderall. I don't even know if that's a macro dose. Okay,
yeah,
it's fucking macro.
Oh my God. This is just about public service announcement. We are not. We don't support drug use here.
No. I support some drug use.
I support lion's mane, ashwagandha. I support. That's not drugs though. Those
are natural pills.
Psychedelics, mushrooms.
Yeah.
Psilocybin.
Yeah.
Marijuana.
Fine.
Cannabis. All the natural things
that are legal. Let's go that route.
Are mushrooms legal?
Yeah, some places.
They're
adaptogens. It depends on the dosage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. White people do be invested in themselves, and we need to take a note out of their book because you're right, and that's the difference. And even, like, I also thought about what we were talking about earlier is, like, you could work so hard, and then you're like, oh, shit, you look up, and you're like, your kids are fucking 8. And you're like, you were just 3. What the fuck happened? And you're like, I did all this shit, and granted, I'm happy I did this shit.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, like, if I die tomorrow, what the fuck is important?
That's
you know?
right.
Like, are these fires that I put out, like, the clip didn't go out today. You know, like, nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
But, like, my kid and, like, you know, your family and, like, you realize, especially when you put your head down and you work and you work and you work, you start, as you get older, your parents get older, you know, the people around, shit happens.
Yeah.
Fucking pandemics and shit. People die. Like, your mortality comes in. And then you're like, you don't want something extreme to happen for you to have to shift. You should value your life and your success and your work in the present so that you're not like trying to catch up or like, you know, it's not like there's a balance. There's like this harmonious balance that has to be found because if we work ourselves to death, then we haven't spent time with the people we loved and we haven't laughed hard and we haven't done cartwheels and, you know, had dessert, you know, and like cried and like experienced the success and at every stage, then what the fuck is it, you know? Because like we'll never be at this stage again. Right here where we're at, like right here at this
it's
very
a beautiful
moment.
stage.
Yeah.
Every stage is beautiful. And I think that's another thing that like I've learned along the way. I yearn for the moments when we were back in the office artist loft where I live next door and people would just knock on my door and I'm like, what's it? Like, what are we doing today? You know, I loved those days. But in those days, I was thinking about today.
Right. Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think it's so important for all of us to really value, I call it my 3-day window. Like if I can look back in the last 3 days, have I done at least some of the things that bring me joy? Have I talked to some of the people that bring me joy? Like if it's just all work for the future, nope. Then I'm off.
That's a good measure too. Let me just look at the like last 3 days. Like that's an easy.
I literally have a calendar reminder. This is so sad, but also maybe a tip. Yeah. A calendar reminder on my phone for a joy appointment. Like,
what do you do in those joy appointments?
Yeah, whatever.
Like get your nails done.
Like masturbate, get my nails done. You know, whatever. Have a call a friend I haven't talked to in a while that I've been meaning to call and talk to.
Take your shoes off.
Yeah, take them off. And sometimes like it's creating those habits that then become just standard, and they don't have to be appointments anymore.
Right.
You just do it. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, I had to create one because I was like, yo, I'm not present. I'm not calling. I'm not doing anything for myself. Everything is about hitting this deadline, getting to this, getting to that, sending that email, checking this. And I was like, whoa. So I think that, you know, for those that are listening and those that are, you know, starting their own businesses and in the thick of it, like it's so important to take a step back and take a moment to check in with yourself and be present, because you're right, these moments won't last. I think about me and Milah sitting in our living room. For those that have been listening from the beginning, you know, like we started this podcast in my dining room.
Wow.
And those days of like long nights recording at like 12 a.m. when our kids were asleep, editing until the wee morning because we were recording the day before the episode came out. Like,
those are the days.
I miss those days. I mean, do I want to be doing that specifically? No. But like those days were so amazing, and I think we did. I think I did relish and spend time in those moments, but there were moments where I was like, please God, get me out of this.
I agree.
Like, please, I want to be here right now in Studio City in my fucking podcast studio.
That's right.
You know?
Not trying to get it off an hour episode off of 17 Apple phones in 30-minute increments.
The grind is real. I think people really underestimate the amount of consistency that's required for like this type of work.
You have to be consistent. There's no other way around it.
No one should have ever taught us the word sweat equity.
Right.
As soon as I heard it, I was like, oh yeah, my sweat equity is high, girl.
I know any person that gives us like offers us a deal, we're like, you're just not taking into account the sweat equity that got us here.
But also, they don't care. I also had to learn that too. I'm like, this isn't my value. They don't give a shit. They will walk away.
They were like, we put the numbers in this calculator, and it says right here that you are worth no sweat equity is in my calendar, bitch.
And no matter how successful you get, that will never change. They will always, I mean, literally as recently as a couple of months ago, like, let's say you're raising money, and like I've raised around $12 million, a little more than that. I remember I owned all of my stock. So there's this thing in startup world where like you get stock and then you vest. So like you get your stock over a certain period of time because they don't want you to leave. So I had fully vested. I owned all my shares. I got money from a fund, and they were like, great, we're going to take away X% of your shares and they have to revest. But I'm like, whoa. I already earned that sweat equity. Those shares are mine.
Right.
What are you talking about? You can give me new shares.
Right.
And those can vest. But, like, I'm vesting against myself. It's a pie, right? So, like, the more shares you give me, you're actually just shrinking the pie I already have. Like, it's a weird dance. So, I'm like, ain't this crazy? Like, y'all can literally say, we're going to give you money, but then we're going to take the shares you already have that are yours, that you've earned, and make you wait 4 years to get them back.
That's interesting.
It never ends. And that's like par for the course. Like, it's not a, oh my God, like a Morgan was mistreated thing. Like, that is how venture works. But, you know, those are the hard things about being in business. There's so many things that are in power structures that we are not exposed to that, like, you know, you could take that shit personally, which I did. And I had to call a couple people and be like, is this normal? Like, And they're like, yeah, you have to sign it. I'm like, oh, okay.
I have to? Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, so I can't, there's no like popping off. They're like, no. Like, this is standard. I'm like, oh, okay. But it just never ends.
I think that, like, people that are listening that are, maybe work in tech and want to know more about how to raise money, or like what are some like, first of all, what are some like things you shouldn't do, and then like maybe like 3 things that you should do, or like some tips when it comes to raising capital.
Have you all ever thought about it?
We've thought about it.
Yeah, this is for me.
This question's from us.
Because she was actually, we were having this conversation like before you came, and she was like, well, I don't know if like our business is one like where we would need to like raise capital. I was like, what the fuck? Yes, it is.
Well, I think
I was like, I don't want to spend all my money all the time.
No, but I think that there's this fear, because for me, like, I'm not coming from like, I didn't come into like business entrepreneurship with tools. My parents weren't like, here's a business, here's your LLC, here's your credit score.
That's right.
We built your credit and here's $100,000, figure it out. But like, so there's all these, so a lot of times when even people are just chatting, like, do you need investors? And I'm like, well, we're covering our bills right now. Do we need to be taking money from somebody? Like, I'm wondering, like, and I asked her that. I was like, do all businesses need to take investments? Because I think for us, maybe there have been opportunities. No one has ever came and tried to offer us $12 million. But I'm always wondering, like, is it in our best interest to have, like, because for us, I'm like, I'm going to owe you some money. Like, obviously not us personally, but the business. And there's this, like, I feel like if I can pay for our own shit and grow, I mean, I guess we can expand more with more money. But there's this.
So you already know.
It's just this like in like this underlying fear, because I don't know, I'm not fully versed in the world of investments, or like all these things that immediately my mind goes to, I'm gonna owe you some money.
I feel like that's all black people. That's how we. That is how.
My parents were like, "Are you sure?"
Right.
Yeah, that's how we feel. And there's a part of me that feels that way, but I think because I have seen, my mom has grown her company. My mom is a founder, and she owns a beauty brand, Beauty Blender. And so I've seen her. It's a privately owned company. She's had investors try to come in and have these talks and things, but ultimately she hasn't had any investors in the 20 years of her having her company. So I've seen her do it on her own. So I know it's possible, but I know that there's even a time now where she's kind of like, bitch, I'm tired.
Facts.
I'm also like, am I going to be running this company forever? Erica, are you going to run this company?
What's the succession
like,
plan?
what are you doing? Or you look like you're busy over there.
That's right.
So, and I'm looking at our company, and I'm like, yeah, okay, we have good media here. We have our podcast studio.
Right.
But I have like big dreams for this. I have like way bigger dreams. I have big studio dreams for this.
Right.
And I'm not, I'm not going to invest all my money in this shit.
I mean, you all are literally the case study. You have the ambition. You have the network. I mean, you all are very well connected. So it's not like you're not sitting in Kansas where you don't know nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're in LA, and you have the sweat equity. So, I think in terms of how people should evaluate venture funding, because there's also different types of funding, right? So venture funding, the venture capital industry, when people say VCs, is what venture capital stands for, is really about investing in high growth startups that can get a 10x plus return on the money that investor is giving you. So if somebody gives you $10 million, they expect to get back, 50 to 100 million back. That's how much I owe these people. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, oh no, we good. Like, we're good now. Back in the day, like, I don't know, maybe
a lot of money,
maybe not. Right? But it's that's the equation you have to make. But also, when you look at production companies and you look at production studios, how much do you think Dear Media is worth? How much do you think they've raised?
A lot.
Well, they're white.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. My point is to have the vision.
I don't know, because I went to their offices and I said, bitch, how you got this office?
Google
it's
it.
Nice as hell.
Google it.
In a
We should
prime
look it
location.
up right now.
It's in a building. We probably could figure it out.
Just literally Google it. It's just Google Dear Media venture funding. There will be articles on how much they've raised. The reason why I want you to look it up is because if there's someone in your world, in your industry, that does what you do, but maybe at a bigger scale, and you can look at that they've raised venture funding.
Crunchbase? Would it be on Crunchbase?
Yeah.
12.7 million.
Perfect.
And in my mind, I was like, I think we've had this conversation.
One investor.
We said
2 rounds of funding.
I
2
was
rounds
like,
of funding.
her husband's rich. They are rich. They came from money. That's literally what I told her. We literally had
It's not always the
like,
case. Sometimes they are married to the boys, but They still
got to ask.
So in 2022, they raised from all of Dear Media's information.
It's on the internet.
No, but this is my point.
4.7 million, and then in 2020 they raised 8 million.
Wait, and what was the first year?
Magnet Companies was the investor.
Okay.
8 million was in 2020, and then
first round
last year was 4.7 million.
So first round would probably be their seed round, and then goes to Series A, or they did a $4 million Series A. Sounds too low, so they probably just like raised what we call a bridge round in between the next rounds, because they might have been running out of money. My point is that it's doable, right? And like, I think that because they're not in our world, like these people who are raising this money aren't a part of our ecosystem all the time. It's just hard to see and hard to believe, but the information is there.
So say I'm Dear Media.
Yeah.
What do I need to have in place in order to even go to an investor? Like, I need to have, obviously, I'm sure, a business plan, some sort of like plan of action to show like this is how I'm going to make back your money. Yeah,
ish. You would think, but it's actually it's a couple of things. One, it's a deck. A pitch deck, a PowerPoint presentation, a Google Slides presentation.
Canva. I'm the Canva queen. Okay, I can make a deck.
I don't know about no Canva. Maybe with the AI features, but
you can plug AI into Canva.
Yes. Oh my god. We can talk about AI. If you want. Yeah, I can go down that rabbit hole. But okay, so you need a deck that says this is who we are. This is the market. So this is the total market. This is the total podcasting market. This is how much is spent in advertising and right? You paint the big billion-dollar picture. $1 billion. Like black people listen to radio at this, and then radio is converting
the
to
fastest
podcast.
growing. Blah 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 blah.
Like I1 Digital and urban radio makes this amount, every year, hundreds of millions of dollars, and we're going to take just like this slither of it, So that's the picture you're painting, and then you're like, and then here's who we are. And this is our track record. And like, look how amazing we are. And like, and then you say, and we're asking you to give us $5 million. And what we're going to do with that is hire this and rent this and get a studio in Atlanta and a studio in New York, so that all of our talent, we're going to license different shows, and we're going to do this whole thing. And then you go talk to people.
And then if you don't do those things,
where do these people live?
Then what happens?
They're down the street. They're in Century City.
What happens if you don't? What happens if you don't
get it done?
Yeah.
I mean, welcome to literally everyone, but like, it's really hard to raise money for everyone, not just black folks.
No, I just mean like, what if they give you the money and then you don't succeed? You don't like your company. You don't
give them the $100 million you owe them.
Okay, so a couple of things happen, and this actually happens a lot, but people don't know what's happening. So your company can get acquired. So let's say you guys like aren't doing well. You'd call me and be like, "Hey, so how would you feel about buying us?" And I would be like, "Sure. What are your numbers? What are your this? What are your that? Like, I'll buy you." So then the headline is, you guys were acquired.
So a lot of times that's what's happening.
Not all the time.
But sometimes,
but
though.
Probably,
when things are acquired, it's
if you can't figure out, like, this seems odd. They don't look like they're doing well. They probably aren't.
Didn't you acquire a business?
I did.
Shadow Act?
Shadow Act and Travel Noir.
Okay.
Those are both acquisitions. Not to.
No, we're not associating those two things with failed businesses. No.
You're a powerhouse.
But yes. And I have looked at many, many deals every week, right? And that's what happens a lot of the times. Sometimes you get the LinkedIn post where you're like, we ran out of money and we're done. And what happens then is you liquidate your assets, you'd sell this couch, you'd sell everything you've got. No, literally. Seriously, it's traumatic. There are like liquidation companies. We liquidated our office. It was the most traumatic thing, like during COVID. And you give that money to your investors, you pay them back first. And then anything left, which there's nothing left, would go to you. But there's nothing left because it didn't work out.
Got it.
But VCs know this. Like, that's already built into the risk profile for you. So it's not anything for me, it's like they know what they're dealing with. So you might as well aim for the stars.
So that it's really not so... I mean, it feels, I think, when you don't really know the language and the landscape, it feels something like totally unattainable to like find a venture capitalist to invest in your company.
Right.
When really it isn't that wild of a...
It is doable.
Yeah.
I have seen people way less successful than you. And probably half y'all listen to this. Get it done.
Excuse me, if there are any venture capitalists listening, Good Media is available for investments.
Mila's not going to make our pitch deck on Canva.
I'm gonna get AI. My pitch decks on Canva are the bomb. Morgan, wait till you see this shit.
You know what I love is when I get resumes made on Canva, and I'm just like, yes, it's screaming financial director for me. Ma'am.
When's your birthday?
I'm an Aquarius. February 6th.
February 6th?
Mm-hmm.
Happy belated.
Thank you.
So is my boyfriend. He's waving from the other side. Deep connection to Aquariuses.
We're a vibe.
You guys are a vibe.
Wait, so what are the other types? So there's VCs,
yes, good
and
question.
and
So you can take out a loan. Mm-hmm. So
we did that. Oh Lord Jesus!
Oh,
yeah,
God.
there's not from like Cabbage.
We
or,
didn't
like,
do good.
anything
We
crazy.
went with.
Oh, you're gonna do this
You
again?
can call them out. Who?
We already bitch ass.
Wait, hopefully it's not a client.
What the fuck? Jefferson. Andrew Jefferson. Was it Andrew Jefferson?
Jeffrey Anderson.
We went with bitch ass Jeffrey Anderson from the motherfucking direct funding. Don't
is
ever
that?
go to those motherfuckers. They lie and they cheat and they lie and they cheat in type form. They did it in an email.
I'm dead.
Fuck them.
Why did you go with such a random?
Because we were rushing. We weren't.
Was this during COVID?
No,
Girl,
this is in September.
What did we need money for?
nothing.
Working capital?
Studio.
Working capital.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most common use of like needing money is because you need the money to build the thing so you can make the money. Mm-hmm. But it's short term. It's just like a one-time cost. Right. And a couple of things. You can take out a loan from wealthy individuals, which is like what we call a convertible note. So it can convert into equity or you can pay them back with the interest rate. That's like the safest thing to do.
Or they'll take equity in your business.
Or they'll take equity in your business when you raise money.
Okay.
So it's like eventually we'll get there.
One day.
Yeah.
Call you in a couple months?
Yeah,
If you
so
remember.
like I did that.
You're
I was
really
like,
rich. Maybe you don't remember.
yeah, I'm like, this will probably work itself
I
out.
forgot.
Yeah. And it's going to work out around this range, plus or minus, you know? That's like super safe because you can always pay them back if you want, or you can raise and then you never have to pay them back. They convert it to equity. You can take a line of credit from a bank, like a reputable bank, like Bank of America.
That's
What
the
we
best
should have
bet.
done.
Yeah, don't do it from a bitch ass motherfucker who's probably sitting in a fucking apartment.
She
in
was
Encino.
like, I feel like they're sitting in an apartment in Burbank.
No.
Like in just like
I'm
typing
dead.
on computers.
There's revenue-based financing, which is like, let's say you guys close like 5 huge deals and they're all worth like $100K each. So you've got $500,000 out in accounts receivable. You can take a loan out on that accounts receivable. It's a revenue-based financing.
I've heard about that.
That's pretty good. Like, there's so many options for short-term cash flow issues, and I think not enough people, they wait till they're in the cash flow issue to get the loan, which is the exact time not to.
get
And
the
I've
loan.
learned this the hard way. There was a time when we didn't make payroll, or we were about to not make payroll, and I was like, damn, I really should get a loan right now. No, nobody wants to give you a loan when they're looking at your finances. You ain't got it. Like, that's not it, right?
And then so they do. It's gonna be a high ass motherfucking interest rate.
Nah, I can't do it. You know, so you got to figure it out. But yeah, when you got the money, that's when you go get more financing. It's like we just got, I don't know, whatever. I think this is public information. I don't know. At some point, I'll put a press release out on it. But we just got a $10 million line of credit. And do I need it?
But it's nice to have it there.
Yes.
But also, a line of credit is better to have than taking just X amount of dollars from some fucker in a Burbank apartment.
That's right.
Just for the
It
record.
just gives you peace of mind.
In
Like,
case
if we
anyone's
need to
wondering.
pull against it, we can.
Right.
Do I pay an interest on it every month? Sure. But
At least it's just for what you
I can
took.
go to sleep at night.
Growing pains that we've all had
But
to
no
learn.
black folks have scaled a podcast empire. Like, some people have done joint ventures with like iHeartMedia. Like Charlemagne's a super successful Black Effect. I think Loudspeaker Network's not black owned, but like
No,
it's culture based.
Yeah.
I don't think he's raised any money, but like there's an opportunity. Somebody will get this done.
Us.
You.
I mean, one thing I think has really kept us, I don't even know, like, two bitches and a wish, but like. Two bitches and a wish.
Is that the name of our company?
I'm dead.
Hello. It is, we are two bitches and a wish. Boats and hoes.
Namaste.
Erica, cue up the PowerPoint. I mean, but I think we've been like super clear and confident about our goal. Super confident. Like, and saying no and like not being worried and being like, I know my value, even if no one cares about my sweat equity, we do, you know. And it's kind of toxic because we'll be like, we don't need them, fuck them, you know. It's like us convincing each other, but you need that like that clarity. And I'm like, I'm not going to sell out. I'm not selling anyone my business for a portion of what I put into it, because and also just being so clear, because people are going to tell you whether or not they think you're valuable, or whether or not you're landing in a niche that's important or needs to be occupied, or if you say white bitches or nigga too much, you're not going to get picked up or be popular, and then you're in Target. So
I'm dead.
Oh my goodness. Well, switching gears real quick, I wanted to talk to you about love as an entrepreneur. You know, I think that, you know, especially in your industry, I'm sure you've had to like kind of protect yourself in maybe probably the early days of like, you know, what people can access about your life.
Yeah.
And I've seen that you've kind of opened up a little bit and started to share, you know, different aspects of your relationship and love. And how has that been for you? And really, what was the inspiration behind really showing, you know, that part of your life?
Yeah. Well, simple answer, I'm done. This is it. So I just kind of like, I felt like, so I'm 33. So started Blobby when I was 24. Don't want to date me when I'm 24 years old. Like, not cute. You know what I mean? Like, we're in the mud. So, I actually had a boyfriend when I started the company, and then we were long distance, broke up. And then I was just, you know, you meet so many people when you are fundraising and going to events, and it's a male, you know, it's me and all the guys, right? And that was really hard for me to, I'm like, are we friends? Are we colleagues? Are you trying to have sex with me? Like, like, what's going on? You know? And I made moves. I made mistakes. I fell in love with different people. Like, I went through all the ups and downs that any girl in her 20s goes through. And I also knew along the way, like, these people probably aren't my forever people. And, you know, building in public is not the easiest, and I didn't want any inkling of my personal life to like impact my business or the perception of my success. Like, there was a time when if you Google my name, people were Googling like Morgan DeBaun boyfriend, like Morgan DeBaun dad, as if there was like a man secretly like financing my life. I'm like, no, I'm just working really hard.
Not the dad and the boyfriend. Oh my God.
There must be.
There must
be a man. Like, and it's like, there's no man. Like, it's
the man
just
is
me. And my co-founders, like, who are men, but like, I'm still me, you know? So I think that I was so cautious not to step into any of those stereotypes because I worked so hard, and I was just very much like, no, fuck y'all. Like I'm going to do this. Maybe even to my own detriment, like, because people could have maybe probably weren't trying to sleep with me, but like just wanted to help. And don't get me wrong, men have helped me so much along the way. My investors are men, etc. But I felt like my personal life, it just wasn't like there, you know, it wasn't to the point where it was like worthy of space and time and interaction. And I needed to be fully happy and enjoy self. And I think COVID allowed me the physical space because I wasn't on the road, like traveling every week, and the business was stable after we got through the initial chaos that we all went through with like George Floyd and the election and all this stuff. But once I made it through all of that, I really was in peace, and I was just so happy. And that is also oftentimes when you find the right person, you know? And I was very committed to finding my partner in life. Like, I very much was, my friends are like, you dated like it was a job. Like, I was serious, you know? And I had this one thing that I would tell guys that I'm dating, like, one, I'm keeping my options open. Like, I do not aspire to be a girlfriend. I aspire to be a wife and a mom. So, you know, I, like, the girlfriend title is like not the thing for me. So if that's what you're looking for as a girlfriend, we probably aren't the right fit, or we should just like stay open, you know? And
I think so many women are so afraid to lead with their wants and their desires. They feel like they're going to scare off that person. And I always tell people, like, if they're scared, then they're not for you.
Well, it makes you sound, women think they'll sound needy
and desperate.
Yeah,
I think that men aspire to be married and to find their partner just as much as women do. Like, my male friends, who are the worst guys ever, they're like, I want to be married. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Your actions aren't lining up, sir.
This don't line up. But I do think they genuinely mean it. Like, they're like, yeah, I want like a wife and I have kids, but I want my wife and my kids to be in the same woman. Like, I want to do all the things. They can't get there anytime soon with their behavior, but like, they want it just as much as we do. And the idea that they don't, I think, is something we try to tell ourselves because it makes ourselves feel better. But I actually think they do. And it just needs to be the right circumstances.
Right.
You know, and the right person. And I had to get really comfortable with, I may be single for the rest of my life. And I think once I accepted that, like, men are infinite, there's billions of them. Like, my odds are in my favor, right?
that part.
But if it doesn't happen, I live a beautiful life. I have more than work. I walk, I paint, I garden. I have a rich, juicy life. So, you know, if it don't work out, it don't work out, right? So I think that was like the second thing, was just like feeling comfortable in self. And then I think that also just makes you so much more attractive. Like, just being a CEO and a boss, like, these guys don't give a shit.
In fact, it's probably scary.
It's
I
so
would
intimidating.
Yeah, it's anti.
I would
It's
imagine
the worst.
that it would be it's somewhat like men would be intimidated by you for sure.
Absolutely. And they've definitely said that. Or like, guys would be like, oh, I've had a crush on you forever, but I was just so intimidated. I'm like, okay.
Well, that
like,
doesn't make my pussy wet.
yeah, like, sounds good for you. Like, I'm good, bro. Like, you know. And I'm sure there's men who are like kicking themselves now because they thought I was this hardcore, intense person, and then they see me now and they're like, oh man,
Look at her being soft.
she looks squishy.
Look at her in her garden.
You know what I mean? Like, damn. And I'm like, yeah, same me, but women are in phases. We have to feel safe. And I think, you know, I worked on myself first, and then I was out in the world looking and receiving, you know, and actually being able to receive all the love and the energy that was coming my way. And the more you receive, the more it becomes easier to find and navigate to the person that's right for you.
Do you require your partner to be, and I don't know, I have no idea what your partner does. I know that he helps you out with your productions and stuff like that, but I'm just wondering, like, Morgan before versus Morgan then, was it important for your partner to be like equally yoked? Because I think a lot of times too, because I only say this because I think as women, our inclination sometimes is to say no.
Yeah.
But then as time goes on, it's not even us. It's usually the men that become less, over time, become, I guess, somewhat insecure about, you know, the position that their woman is in versus them, and it becomes like this issue.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, is that important to you? Is that something that is it something that's important to you?
No, I dated them all. I mean, I dated guys who worked normal 9-to-5s. I dated guys who were, you know, aspiring LA people. I dated, you know, your New York 40-year-old plus ballers. Like, I dated it all. Like, I was a non-discriminatory dater. Black. I've only dated black men. But other than that, I'm like, you good. Like, you fine. Okay, we in. So I think now, like, what my original criteria, like, as I was just like thinking through, okay, what's the right fit for me, was people who I could live my full life with, and I didn't feel like I had to compartmentalize. And I think just how they made me feel was most important. So if I felt like I've got to go to LA this week, I've got to New York this week, I've got to go over here, I've got to go here, like, are they going to be like, oh my God, you're never home? Or are they going to be like, okay, like, I'll meet you there. Right? Like, can they meet me there? Or they got to go take vacation days that they don't have. Right? Like, if we can just live our full lives together, that's all that I want.
So then their job does matter a little bit. They can't.
That's their choice. Like, if they had a job, like, one, I think people choose their jobs. Like, generally, right? So, yeah, if you choose a 9-to-5 that has a fixed amount of vacation days and you need approval for all these things, and I'm like, yo, we just got invited to, like, the Oscars. Are you coming or are you not? Like, I'm going. Are you coming? Right? So, like, that is their choice. And if they can't live with those choices and they're going to resent me for living my life that I've worked really hard for, then they're not the right man for me. Mm-hmm. And a lot of men opted out. Like, a lot of men, like, get into it and they opt out. They're like, I've got too much going on, or like they see how impactful my work is, and they're like, I really got to work on my career, so they opt out. Okay, you should go do that. It's the wrong timing for us.
Mm-hmm. You won't be at the Oscars,
right?
I mean, I get it. I mean, for me, it's important. I want my partner to be able to enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Fuck yeah, we stay in beautiful
hotels.
What the fuck
am I working so hard for to just be here by myself?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, naturally, I was attracted to men that had more control over their own calendars, you know, but that could be a number of careers. You could be an artist. You could be a business person. I mean, you could be, I don't know, fucking entrepreneur mowing lawns. Like, I don't care. You could have a landscaping company.
But you can you have the leisure to leave when you feel like leaving. You're not, you know, like tied to anybody else's schedule for you.
Right.
That, I mean, you said a word like women. I don't know what you said, but it's true. Women do all the things when they feel safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, feeling safe is critical.
Safety.
Yeah.
Safety. And like not having to feel like you have to compartmentalize or, you know, like shrink.
Or look a certain way. Like, you know, my boyfriend loves me when I'm like, I actually can't function and I'm in a bathtub right now, like eating Indian food and like just let me be. Mm-hmm. He loves me that much as when I'm, you know, all glammed up wearing a beautiful gown. Like, it doesn't matter to him, but I don't feel like I would have found that here in LA.
Mm. You met him in
Nashville.
Okay.
We met at a bar.
Really?
I love that.
Old fashioned.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, the safety thing is really, I mean, I think all women resonate with that word, period. Like, you will get the soft Morgan when I feel safe. You know, you will get the soft Erica when I feel safe.
Yeah.
I will fucking put toothpaste on your toothbrush before you wake up in the morning.
Joyfully.
Happily.
I think men here feel safe, and they're like, I'm a protector.
I will be domesticated for you if you
joyfully.
You know, like
I want to.
I
literally will stop my day and I will make him lunch and like bring it to him because I want to.
Right.
Not because I have to. Not because I couldn't afford to get you Uber Eats. Like because you're hungry and I'm making myself lunch and here you go. Like I think that gender roles are empowering when you just do whatever the fuck you want to do. And like that's actually what being like full love is you can actually just be yourself. So much so that I don't even know that I knew who like all of myself was because I couldn't let myself be 100% anywhere with anyone. Like I just wasn't there yet. So he actually unlocked other parts of me. I was like, huh.
I didn't even know I had this shit in me.
You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know I could be so carefree. Like I didn't know I could sleep so good. Like, you know, I used to be so terrified living in a house alone. Like I was just scared all the time. I would sleep in hotel rooms and double check all the things. Like I was just constantly scared for my safety. Girl, I walk across the street. I don't even look across if I'm holding his hand.
Right.
Like that's how safe I feel.
Right.
And that's beautiful. I love that.
I do love that. How long have you guys been together?
Almost 2 years.
You guys live together?
Oh yeah, we moved in like month 3.
Month 3?
Yeah.
Oh, bomb.
Get over here. Get in here.
Listen.
Well, yeah, I think it's when you know, you know.
We had this big ass house.
Yeah. Like,
come on in.
You got a dog? That's fine. Just bring him too.
You're the alarm system.
Yeah. Yeah. I do call her my little security system.
Oh my gosh.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
That's beautiful. I think love can be really healing. And if you know, if we feel safe.
I never thought it would be true. I was not a fairy tale person.
I think it's also when you stop like seeking it, you stop looking, and you stop like, is it coming? And then it's like, oh, I'm in it. Perfect.
But being in a place to receive it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crucial too. Is like, and I think a lot of that is the work that you do before you find the love.
Yep.
The work is completed. I don't know if it's ever fully completed, but you can do a lot of healing in the relationship.
Yes.
You know, I don't think you have to be this healed up person to then finally enter into a relationship.
No.
But there is a level of like healing and acknowledgement and safety within yourself that has to happen before.
It's just more clear.
Yeah.
You know, like we were able to move really quickly, like so much so that everybody was like,
are you sure?
Like Morgan has lost her fucking mind. Like this is, and she's posting this man. Like what is going on? Like people were shocked. And I'm like, no, like this is my twin flame. Like this is it's done. Like when it's so clear, because I'd already accepted the life without him. You know,
it's like, no, I want you in it.
Like this is icing.
Yeah,
it's like, I don't need you.
I don't need you, but this is
I
want dessert
you.
every day.
Yeah,
like selfishly.
Yes, I love that. Well, on that note, do you have an affirmation that you can share with our tribe here?
I feel like it's been changing since we've been talking, because I started off with one, but I don't think it's that anymore. My affirmation for the ladies is, I am full, I'm living a rich, juicy life, and I'm in control of my future.
I am full, I'm living a rich, juicy life, and I am in control of my future.
Yes.
Motherfucking right.
Yes. Emphasis on the juicy life.
Juicy life. And I'm in control.
Yes. Do we have... we had Morgan pull a card at the top of the show. It's tarot time.
It's tarot time. Shout out to Mahogany Tarot Deck, our beautiful black card deck from Kashira. You pulled the Four of Cups.
Okay.
The Four of Cups are usually having to do with emotions. This one means meditation, contemplation, apathy, and reevaluation. It says here, when the Four of Cups turns up in a tarot reading, new invitations and opportunities are flowing to you, but for now, you're saying no and turning them away. Perhaps the prospects do not interest you, or your cup is full, or you already have too much on your plate. Use your discernment to decide on what is truly important to you, and don't be afraid to decline new projects that don't align with your future path.
This is definitely happening. I feel very guilty.
The Four of Cups can also indicate a time when you are turning your attention and your energy internally to realign to this new phase of your life. You know that you need to be standing on terra firma before you can decide your next steps. While you may need to decline some very alluring opportunities, you do so knowing you will be in a better position to say yes to the opportunities that are better fit for you. You are creating the space within yourself so that you are ready to accept new opportunities later and give them the best possibility of success. Use this time for inward reflection, grounding, and contemplation before accepting the next big thing. It's like, don't put out the little fires. Think about the future.
It's pretty accurate.
Wow.
I feel like I say no to stuff. Like, I said no to going to the White House and this, that, and my partner was like, are you sure? Like, this is such like a cool thing. I'm like, I can't say yes to everything.
Yeah.
And then I said, then they came back with something else. I was like, oh, I'm saying yes to that one. But if I said yes to the other stuff,
you probably would have got that other one.
So yeah, no, it's tough balance. You never know.
Yeah. Trusting your intuition and knowing your worth and knowing your value is key. And just knowing that when one door closes, another door opens. And even if you close that door,
another door still opens.
Absolutely.
Possibilities are endless.
Well, Morgan, thank you so much for coming on our show. This was such a lovely chat.
So fun.
I'm so happy that we finally got to meet you. And even though we did sort of fall on you a few months back.
Tell your friend I said sorry.
I will. That's so funny.
Tell her we
so
were
happy to
nervous.
be
We were
here.
coming over to say something and then I tripped, so it was over.
But I remembered it. Now we're here.
Yeah, thank you so much. You've been you're very much an inspiration, and I'm proud of you. You're doing an amazing fucking job.
Thank you.
And it's amazing to watch.
Thank you. I can't wait to be your angel investor.
Okay, well, from your mouth to God's ears.
When it's time.
There's a lot of sweat equity.
I'm going to be like, that's sweat equity. Don't matter.
Like, fuck your sweat equity.
That's the past. We're building the future.
I told you.
Can you tell our people where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, which is very boring. So go on TikTok, where I actually can show you my whole life.
Oh, are you TikToking over there?
Oh, my TikTok is way more fun.
Okay, let me go on
Because
TikTok. and find
Instagram,
you.
like clients follow me on Instagram and employees follow me on Instagram, and I feel like on TikTok,
You're hiding?
well, I'm like, you can find me, but it's more of like, you chose to follow me on TikTok. Like, if I get weird,
This is your fault.
This is your fault. Like, Instagram is basically Facebook now. Like you can only post so much, and I just feel like I'm the people's Instagram, and TikTok is now more fun for me personally.
What's your TikTok? Is it Morgan DeBaun?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's just my name.
And we'll leave all of Morgan's info in the episode description. Make sure you click our episode description to check out our book, which is on pre-sale. Check out our retreat. Just cancel that lace front appointment, girl, and just come on and book the Good Vibe Retreat. We're going to Mexico in July. We have 2 dates, all inclusive, amazing women. Come find your tribe. This is where you come find your tribe. This is where you detach from the bullshit, come relax, decompress, switch up your timeline, do some new shit.
Switch up your environment, relearn yourself, and remember who the fuck you are.
Make new friends.
Make new friends. It's hard to make a friend.
As an adult.
It is. It is hard. And it is hard, but when you're there, it's so fucking easy.
It is.
It's so easy. And, the women that come on our retreats, they're like literally hanging out. I'm sure like right this very moment. I look on our Discord every day and they're like, look who I'm with. And I'm like, oh my God, it warms my heart to see them like continue the friendships past this experience.
That's beautiful.
If you are looking for your new bestie, I guarantee you will find her here, or just bring your bestie with you. But anyway, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye. Bye.